Okay, the purpose of this video is to tell about a card game called Cheat. So I don't know, is it international card game, but at least it has been played in Finland. I suppose it's played in other countries too, but I really like that card game, and it's similar to poker that you have to understand the psyche of the opponent, and the purpose of the game is to cheat. I will give you the rules of the game, and there are some variations in this video, and tell a bit why it's interesting to me, or I already told about why it's interesting to me, because you have to understand what the other player do, and it generates this kind of fun situations where you have to cheat to win, and then other people have to think. It is a very strategic game, and you will understand when I tell the rules. So there are two variations. In first variation, you with playing cards, you give each player 5 cards, and then you take it. Everyone take them to hand. This would be a good start for a poker hand, because I'm having 1 out of straight. If this would be 10 or 5 out that is straight, but in this game there is no poker hands, it's only numerics from lowest to highest. The higher is better, and then 10 will sacrifice the pile. So each player will put a card face down to table, and then next player will put card or many cards to top of it, and they will claim, state what card is it. As in, if I would put this card, an 8, I would say that 11, that this is 11. I would say 11 and put this to the table, and a person who, then everyone have an opportunity to believe it or not. If they believe it, they don't say anything, and it passes, and then it goes to the next player. But if someone checks it and it's not 11, then I have to draw all the cards in the file to my hand. And the purpose of the game is to get rid of your hand. So you want as fast as possible, and then if you have the same number, for example, now I don't have it, but if I would have, I would, for example, I can play 2 7s at the same time. That gives me possibility, and even I don't have it, or even I would, I can, but there would be no point to put 6 and 7 and say 2 7 and put them in the table like this. And then if someone looks, there is 2 7, the person who look, they draw the whole pile. If the pile contains only these 2 cards, they draw these 2 cards, but if it contains more, they draw everything. So that generates the suspense in the game, and I like the version of the game I like where you deal all of the deck. In that 5-card version, you draw always the 5 card, and it's the strategy is to generate yourself a hand that you can read off very fast when the game runs out of cards to draw, because when you cannot draw anymore in this game, then you just don't, and the person who is out of cards the first will win. But if you deal all of the cards at the same time, you have lots of these, it generates kind of situation that you have to sort an amount. For example, this would be a very good card to have in any hand, 10, because 10 will sacrifice the pile. There is this amount of cards, you just say 10, put it in here, they don't see it. You can also show it to them, it doesn't matter if you want to, but you don't have to. And then if they believe it, it will be sacrificed and there will be new pile, because you cannot play lower card. If someone plays 6, you cannot play from 2 to 5. You can only play 6s on it or higher, and 10 will always sacrifice all of the deck. And then I would say 10, then someone won't believe me, they would check it's really 10, they would take all these cards to their hand. And that generates this funny situation that you have to cheat, and sometimes you are desperate when you cannot play. For example, if there is no card that you can play legally in this game, you just have to cheat and invent some card that you put there. And there are many strategies and many ways. For example, if you have like 3 aces in your hand, you can always just put some crap cards in there and say 3 aces, especially if everybody knows that you have them. And then when someone draws the 3 aces, everybody knows then that person has 3 aces, then you can start to pump cards or have these kind of different strategies, and some people might not dare look of them because they know that you have those cards. For example, there is also strategy that sometimes you want to look if it's really there, the card, because you want to draw it. If someone puts 2 good cards in the table, you can just look them, and if it's really the card, they say it doesn't matter to you, because if you got 10 to your hand by looking someone who sacrificed a small pile with a 10, you of course want to draw everything, because it doesn't matter if you got 1 10 in your hand in this version where actually both versions there are these kind of things that you have to think how you use those key cards like 10 or very high cards, and you have to think how you can get rid of those small cards, especially if I would have this hand, I would have some excess cards, like I would have for example 2 sevens, it's not bad because I can play these together, then I get rid of 2 cards, but if I have only for example 1 4 in my hand, this becomes very bad card in my hand, and I want to get rid of this 4 as fast as possible in a way that I can cheat it to the deck. For example, I would put 4 and 3 in there and say 2 7 and hope that they believe it. And then in next turn or next possibly situation, I would play again 2 7. Then they think, hey, you just played 2 7, now you do it again. And then they might look or not. And then there are real sevens. And there are also some variations of this game that allows you to cheat differently. For example, you could do like this, that you say 2 sevens and put 3 cards and just hope that they don't find out. And sometimes even they would look it, they would only look the 2 cards, and if these 2 cards would be 2 sevens, they would kind of believe that you were truthful, but they wouldn't notice that you smuggled 1 card to the pile. But the person who draws it, if it was the last person who played, would notice it. Hey, this is not a card I played, there is 1 excess card, what's this? And then it goes to that, but you can also play it kind of in the gentleman's way, is kind of meant to be played. And there is even more dirty way to play this game, that you can, for example, hide cards in your clothes or something, and then you are not get caught about it and people will not see it. You can just, when you run out of cards, you can just say, hey, I won. And then when the game is ended, everyone have at the end of it, you can just say, hey, I had this. And then they will say, oh, you were so clever. And it's part of the game that you can hide the cards also. Of course, if you hide all of your hand and just say, I don't have cards, everybody would say, oh yeah, really. And then, but this is the game called Cheat, and it's a very good game. I don't know, did I explain it very good, but this is my favorite card game and I like it very much. And it has this kind of same kind of feel like poker, that you have to evaluate what the other person do and how they think, and when they say, do they really put the cards in the table they are saying, and then you have to use strategy that when do you cheat, or do you cheat at all, or and when do you kind of be truthful. If you are too honest, you are probably going to lag behind of those people who will rush or force their way in and cheat the cards on the table, especially in the early game. If you get rid even 1 or 2 excess cards in the version where you deal the whole deck, it will give you tremendous advantages, because that could mean that you skip 2 turns. You just gain 2 turns momentum with 1 turn. 1 turn would mean the same than 3 playing turn if you can smuggle those excess cards in it with some multiple, like saying 2 6s or 3 6s or something, and then they for some miracle believe it and nobody checks it, and you can smuggle the cards in there in the pile. Of course they notice later who draws it, but if it's sacrificed, nobody will notice it, and then your rules will go through even at the end, kind of end game, where you can check who cheated or not if you want to check. It doesn't, you don't have to, but you can. You of course can see who played what in what turn when you later see the cards. and you can like play like if every player want to check how other plays, but some players might not want other people know how they play this game, as in want to keep their style a secret, or don't want them to have this information that when they did cheat, because it will give something away. There are different kind of ways to play this game in different groups and different variations, but I like the one where you deal the whole deck and then you don't hide the cards in clothes or anything, and then you I like both versions where you can smuggle in the deck, and I like also the version where you have to play it kind of straight, that you have to put the amount of cards you save, and there cannot be any smuggling in the deck. But it is very, very fun game because it creates this situation where it's very tense, and people are very concentrated and alert, and they are constantly thinking that what the other person will do. Very much the same like in poker, but it is much more fun because in poker you don't actually cheat. In poker you cannot cheat. You just have to evaluate the situation, that what hand the opponent have, because you don't know. And then you have to look for their tails, or when they bet in the table, you have to think that is it that do you fold or go with it with them, or rise even. So that's the poker thing. But in this game you have to go constantly. You can cheat. You have to think. Does the person really put in the table what the person say they put? That's the interesting part of the game. And I am not aware of the same games like this, but there must be some similar games. If you know similar card games where it's allowed to cheat and the whole purpose is to cheat in that game, then you can comment and tell the rules in there. I'm very interested in that kind of games. I don't like cheating or lying in real life, but when you can do it, when it's allowed in the game, it's part of the rules where everyone agrees. Because the lying and cheating in real life, the problem is that the victims won't agree in it. So it generates grievances, but in games it's just fun, because everyone agrees that it's the rules of the game, and it's a children's play, basically, where you agree with your opponents that both can cheat their way in that game. So you can unleash this kind of wicked kind of a mindset that in normal social environment is very harmful, that you can unleash it in that kind of game to be really cunning and cheat the opposing. And if a person sees that kind of one way to spend time to play that kind of game, not everyone likes the game, but I really much have been fond of my whole life. The first time I played that game, I immediately saw as a children it's a very fun game, that it had this kind of extra feeling that other games didn't have, because all those games where you don't cheat, you just play the cards, and it's kind of it lacks the hidden atmosphere, it lacks the hidden kind of how you say, it lacks the different road, it lacks depth. When this cheat game, it has this depth that you have to really go towards the opponent head, inside the head in mind to understand what the other person do. It's a very psychological game, and that makes it interesting that it have this feature that the other games don't. Other games you just play cards and you think it mechanically or strategically. You think it completely mechanically the game. There is no psychological factor in it, because you can use only mathematics or some calculations to go through that game, and that's everything that is in a normal card game. But in games like poker and games like Mahjong or games like this cheat game I just told about, there is this extra layer in it that makes it a psychological game, and that makes it a fun, especially if this cheat game is, the poker can be very serious and it contains money. These cheat games, I have never known people play this with money, so it's this kind of light game where you aim to have fun when you play this cheat game. I just thought about it. The purpose of this game is to have fun, and that you can laugh about those situations, that when some person you look and you can quote them from cheating and they have to take the pile to your hand, people will laugh about that kind of situation. Ah, ha, ha, really, and that kind of thing. And then they can cite for each other that you can speak to your opponent that do you really? Is it really? Ask the opponent, yeah, it is. And it generates this kind of funny thing, and different kind of groups can play it. This kind of different kind of I think the perfect game for this kind of light mood, good mood, maybe drinking a bit, and this kind of laughing and having fun game. And then for time to time play some cheat card, and then just laugh about it. And then while playing, you can also talk about other things, and that it doesn't have to be so serious like poker, and it's just the part of where you can hide the cards. It's also that if you play it very lightheartedly, then people will do other things and their focus will shift and they will speak of other things. In that kind of situation, someone can just hide the cards in their clothes or put it in the pocket or something. But I'm not that goes overboard very fast, and people will start doing all kind of crazy things when you can do that, and it becomes a bit of a problem also. So it's more problematic, but to some people it might be also fun because it gives you also this extra layer to the extra layer that you can use sleight of hand kind of skills. That if you are, for example, some kind of professional card wizard or how you magician who make these magic tricks with cards, you can of course hide those cards very efficiently. And other people don't have those skills, and those kind of people are very hard to win. And all these kind of card trick magician type of people, they will excel in this game because this game it's within the rules to use those skills. So it's not wrong. It's encouraged to do those kind of sleight of hand kind of tricks in this game. So there is no better game for that kind of people. So it would be very awesome to see if for example, 4 card trick magicians that are really professional level card tricksters plays the game version where you can hide the cards when they cheat each other and do all these kind of tricks, and do they get caught or not, and who win the game. It would be a really fun to see and interesting to see how that kind of people with that kind of skills that they just have some cards and they do something, some very crafty moves, and then suddenly some cards are missing, and do they know, and because they know these tricks, these people, that they will be very much harder to make the illusion of it. And this. But that's this video, and this is my favorite card game, and I just wanted to tell these rules of this game and talk a bit about this game a bit, and just put this out there for people if some people see this and this seem interesting, this card game, they can try this, and some people might like this game, and some people might not know about this game, so now I tell about it. I do not have knowledge that is this a popular game or do many people know about this game. I really don't know, but at least when I was younger, everybody seemed to know this game in here where I live. So this is this video, and now I quit it. No.